Hello, beautifuls. I want to share a perspective today on uncertainty. We are definitely living in a time of fluctuation, right? Everything is changing. It's changing rapidly. And we see it in our governments. We see it in inflation. We see it in the economic structures, other social structures, world peace and strife. There is so much fluctuation. And in this place, a lot of people are feeling uncertain. They are feeling fearful. And when we look at the definition of uncertainty, it is to feel unsure of what will happen in the future. And it makes sense because things are changing and we don't know what will happen in the future. However, I would like you to ponder for a moment that externally, in our experience, we can never be 100% certain about really anything because everything is always changing. And yet every day we choose what things we will deem as certain or that we will be uncertain about and we will allow ourselves to worry about, right? For example, most people are pretty confident that when they drive to work that they're going to show up at work. And yet for some people, that doesn't happen, right? But we have decided that there's a certainty in that activity. And in this place, when we understand that we pick and choose what we will feel certain or uncertain about, it means that we have a choice. That we can choose to actually live in a state of complete certainty. I was working with a client the other day, and I have their authorization to share this portion of their session because it is a valuable learning moment. They were sharing with me a certain aspect in their life that to them was creating, as they called it, great uncertainty. They were very uncertain. They were worried. And they've sold their home and are in the process of trying to find another one and are having difficulty doing so. And in this time where they're trying to find another home, they've been renting spaces and short-term rentals. So they've been moving a lot. And this uncertainty was bothersome. And I invited them to really sink in and see what it was they were uncertain about. And their response was that we don't have a house. I said, really? Is that the uncertainty? And they laughed. And I reminded them of how a few months ago they were in a house. They owned their house. But yet, she was worried or stuck in a state of uncertainty that their house might not sell. So her current state, where she was feeling uncertain because she didn't have a house, was no different than when she had a house, emphasizing that it is a choice. And the only way that we will find certainty in our life is when we find it within. It's not going to happen by looking at something externally to create that sense of security. That sense of security and knowing that everything will be okay comes within. And we find that by cultivating and nurturing an intimate relationship with self, higher self, and cosmic consciousness, God, source, divine, whatever term you want to use. When we can anchor in that place, we become solid no matter what is happening outside of us, because we understand that at another level, we are always safe. We are always taken care of. The invitation today, if you're so willing, is to look at what things in your life you have decreed as uncertain. And then look at the things that you have categorized as certain. And see if they cannot be interchangeable depending on how circumstances flow and shift. And when you start becoming curious about what things you've labeled as safe or secure, certain, and those you have not, gives you a better idea of what your belief system is. And then from there you can become curious as to why you believe that way. And in that place, you start this relationship with the deeper aspect of yourself. I thank you so much for listening to this perspective. I know I haven't been around very much lately. My life is like everybody else's, moving and flowing, and I have not felt the impetus to share here because I've been doing a lot of stuff internally. But hopefully I will be back on a more regular basis. And for those of you who are returning, thank you. I love you, I appreciate you, and I appreciate your support, whether that be by subscribing or hitting the like button, and your beautiful donations. And for those of you who